Welcome back to Breakfast Central. The National Association of Road Transport Owners, NARTO, has warned that the federal government's proposed ban on 60,000-litre petroleum tankers could cost owners 300 billion naira. Recall that the federal government, through the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Agency, has said that it may impose a ban on trucks with 60,000-litre capacity, preventing them from operating on federal highways following the increasing number of deaths resulting from petrol tanker accidents, which has led to the death of 493 persons in 3 years. Now, here's what you should know.
The government, in a proposal to stakeholders, wants tankers restricted to a maximum of 45,000 litres. It said this ban is part of a potential recommendation aimed at reducing fatalities from petroleum tanker accidents to zero. However, the National Association of Road Transport Owners, NARTO President Yusuf Othman, argued that accidents stem from poor roads and driver-related issues, not tanker capacity. He noted that about 2,000 affected trucks, each worth 150 million, are essential for fuel distribution. Now, joining us this morning to discuss this is legal practitioner and development advocate Jide Ologun. Warm welcome to you, sir, and thank you very much for joining us this morning.
It's my pleasure.
Now, we'd like to start off with the root cause, because I mean, the NATO are arguing a position, saying, look, it's not this, it's the roads and other things. From your experience, why do we have tanker explosions in Nigeria? Is it a failure of regulation, enforcement, or just systemic corruption?
Thank you very much. You see, for some that we've recorded, it's when people come around to scoop the spilled fuel that fire, rages. And we need to focus on accident. What are the causes of accident? Because when you talk about the capacity of the truck, the tanker, it was purpose-built by the manufacturers, trusting that it should be efficient. So what are some of the causes of the accidents we've had in the country? You talk about the poor state of the road. I mean, this last weekend, I was out of Lagos and God saved myself and my siblings from a very ghastly vehicle accident between Kire and Bogon on Ibadan-Ile-Ife road because of the state of the, and many vehicles were affected. If you check the potholes.
It's been like that for a while.
Exactly. And there had been complaints. So when we begin to find solutions, we must go to the fundamental causes and not the symptomatic issues that we focus on in Nigeria. So if there wasn't an accident, would there be fuel spillage? The answer is no. So, and again, the state of the drivers, as mentioned by one of the stakeholders, do these drivers rest? If you are supposed to embark on a journey of 3 hours, and because of the state of the road, you are there for 12 hours, definitely you'll be fagged out. So there are a lot of factors. And again, let's look at the content. When you talk about PMS, it's highly inflammable. So whether you pick it in 2,000 liters truck or 60,000 liter truck, if there's an accident, in fact, if you carry it in a jerry can and burst it on the floor when the sun is high, you get flame. So let's look at how we can resolve this crisis fundamentally.
So if I hear you correctly, from what you're inferring now, the proposal to ban the 60,000 litre truck and to restrict it to 45,000 litre will not in any way impact the likelihood of maybe accidents or fires caused by petrol tankers? Absolutely,
because if the bad roads are still there, if the drivers are worn out from embarking on unnecessarily long journey, accidents will still happen. So why don't we fix the accident aspect of it? And let me say that there is what you call rail shipping, which is the most efficient and the most, cost-sensible approach, because a freight train can move about 280 truckload of PMS. And I know that in Nigeria, the rail system was, put in place as far back as 1898. between Lagos and Ibadan. And we appear to have done so much in investing in rail. So why don't you look at that? So why will you be transporting fuel from Kaduna to Suleja? You know what I mean? So we need to wake up, really. And what the NATO is saying now is that, come, our investment in these trucks you are planning to face is about 300 billion naira. So you need to be considerate, or you do what we call buyback. You buy from us. So, and that when you now reduce it to 45,000 liters, it will make sense.
Right. I want to go back to something you said earlier before, when Benga had asked you the causes of tanker fires, and you mentioned when there are accidents, people going to scoop petrol, as the first instinct. Now, we know that one of the causes of that will be poverty. But in the interim, what can we do to discourage that action?
Is it really poverty or recklessness?
Yeah.
I've said it that in a community of poverty, crises are inevitable. So it's a major factor. Apart from that, there's what you call crisis management. If we have come to the point where the government has capacity to cordon off an area of accident and prevent people from approaching, and that has happened once in a while, and successfully managed, so why not? But when you look at localities where about 1,000 human beings are desperate to come and scoop fuel, how do you manage that? And it also has to do with orientation and then to letting the people know the dangers. But sometimes poverty moves a man beyond risk assessment of his actions. And it's quite embarrassing that we are having this. And of course, basically, how can we minimize accidents? Because it's difficult for citizens to just go and stop a truck on the highway and be scooping fuel from the tanker. So you need to look at all this, but we should not rule out the concept of poverty. And again, globally speaking, when you consider countries that have managed their oil resources effectively, pipelines also are a very effective way of transporting. Exactly. And I understand that I think Nigeria is even linking the gas pipe supply to Algeria. So if we can do that, why? But again, talking about the perceived injustice in the land, you read about pipeline vandalism and different kinds of vandalism in the country. So we need to go back to what Section 15, subsection 5 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended says, that the state shall abolish corrupt practices and abuse of office, because it's corruption that has led us to where we are. While traveling, the near accident I referred to, and thank God for saving us, it was very bad.
Thank God.
Someone could have been given money to fix that road, and these guys pocket the money, keep it in their bank accounts, and no accountability to anybody. So we must wake up. Very
avoidable accidents, yes.
Absolutely. We must wake up at this point. I mean, one of the things I enjoy in the USA when I'm on vacation is seeing all these articulated trucks and these beautiful tankers moving on the highway at regulated speed and very clean and well maintained. And I think we can replicate that here. But it's very important that we have good roads if we must move these products on the road, and ensure that the travel time is reasonable for the drivers to pick their rest. Otherwise, we continue to just dance around the circle.
Now, looking at solutions, the government has just only picked the vehicular audit, and they kind of like missed the mark on it, because like you rightly said, it's not by the capacity. The manufacturers have designed this. Fix your roads, look at a multi-pronged approach to solving these issues, and then go for it. Now, let's look at driver audits and some of these motor parks, and who's in charge of ensuring these drivers are in a sane state of mind to drive these cars, because they're literally rolling bombs with the amount of fuel they carry. It's the Federal Road Safety Course duty. And I know, I mean, there are very few countries where Nigerians don't really enforce drinking and driving. A lot of these people, they take all sorts of concoctions and mixtures. Even at the motor park, you see bars and women selling all sorts of things. There's this myth that, oh, it keeps them awake, it's what makes them strong, and all of that. When do we start looking into this aspect? And how important is it for us to do driver audits too?
Thank you. You know, there's a Chinese maxim that says the best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time is now. We have the FRSC that is saddled with issuing driver's license to drivers, and of course, I expect that orientation should be part of the assignment. And we have the NARTO also, and they've even said that they consult with their drivers. But having said that, we cannot rule out the case of this drunkenness and stuff like that. Recently, the government came out to say, oh, we are going to ban these sachet gins and things like that. But how effectively have we been able to do that? So we have come to the point where our regulatory acumen is very low in the country. And I quite agree with you on that. And again, let me go back to the issue of road safety. We have the Federal Road Safety Corps, and the responsibility is to ensure our roads are safe. And I expect that by virtue of governance relationship, that the Road Safety Corps should be in touch with the Ministry of Works to identify that, okay, this portion of the road is bad. But unfortunately, in Nigeria, where you travel on road, you find these FRSC corps members at the very bad portions of the roads just to arrest some drivers. And these are issues.
Even vehicle inspection officers, sorry to cut in. Yeah. Vehicle inspection officers, FRSC, they ask for your roadworthiness. I've done a good job in maintaining my car, but the road I'm driving on, is it roadworthy?
Is it car worthy?
You know, apart from the road issue,
my car driving
recently we renewed our vehicle particulars, and I got a report that I breached the traffic light rule around Bolade Oshodi, and I'm going to contest that. Because what I have noticed in Lagos, and I've expressed my concern on radio, is that these traffic officials pass vehicles when the traffic light is still in red. Oh, yeah. So if somebody takes the picture of my vehicle at that point, because I'm careful to observe these laws as a lawyer and as a chief student of police, understanding the consequences, then how do we manage this? And I've asked this question. Drive on a typical Lagos road, particularly on the mainland. How many vehicles are really roadworthy? And they ply these roads and they are not arrested. Oh. And you go after gentlemen and ladies. So these are issues. Law has a universal doctrine as part of it. So if we want to implement laws, let's implement. And there have been court decisions also, perhaps not in Lagos, that this roadworthiness issue is just for commercial vehicles. So are we for money making or for having safe traffic situation in the country? So these are questions government should be asking themselves.
I mean, the wild thing is, if you're driving on Lagos Road, sometimes you see certain cars and you're wondering, did these tankers or did these vehicles actually get checked? Because they are,
at night.
It's like quarter to die, literally.
If, you know, at the time it was Ojuelegba Bridge, these containers falling off and things like that. They are expected to be latched to the body very well.
Look at that.
Exactly.
Just look at that.
So who is in charge of all this? And again, have we been able to put in place serious consequences? You know, in Rwanda, an accident is like you have committed murder. And they don't joke about it.
As it should be.
As it should be.
Exactly. It should be thoroughly investigated.
So these are issues. We are talking of about 300 billion naira investment. If that is the investment the organization has put on our roads, then they must ensure that lives and properties are safe.
And there should be a sense of urgency. You just escaped a ghastly accident over the weekend, And I bet you that road will still be in that state in the next
In
1
fact,
month.
while we were there, and we're there for almost 5 hours or 6 hours trying to fix, somebody had to come back to Ibadan to get what we needed to fix it and stuff like that. About 4 vehicles. In fact, one of the vehicles, an SUV, the shock absorber broke. For you to know the impact. Deep things. And, I mean, they are still there.
Of no fault of theirs.
Yes.
Okay, just drive from Ashejire in Ibadan all through to Ilesha.
I mean, I've moved
You'll
houses.
be amazed.
From my former place, Lekki Ekpe Expressway was such a death trap that every other time my tire was bursting. But these are conversations that we'll continue to have. Jide Ologun, thank you for your time with us
Thank
this
you so
morning.
much, sir.